Hi, thanks for listening to the monthly social here on YouTube. If you haven't already, please click the subscribe button. It would mean the world to us. All right, hope you enjoy the rest of the show. Take care. Hello, everyone, and welcome. It's an Aaron Pritchett country thing on the monthly social this month as I welcome the multi CCMA winning, Juno nominated, and Billboard charting Canadian artist who comes from British Columbia but is all Canada. Aaron, thank you for joining us on the show that has a little bit of something for everyone and bringing your big country music presence to our virtual stage. How are you?
I'm doing great. Guido, thanks for having me, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, listen, I appreciate it. You're doing this on a busy night. You're just about to go on stage tonight.
Yeah, we're going on pretty shortly. I guess I got to do a quick sound check, and then we got showtime at 7:30 Alberta time here.
Right on. I'm right now I'm not wearing it. Folks are listening. Eventually they'll see the video, but I do have something. I this is
Oh
my look
yeah,
at that. What do you think?
nice.
This is my new
Gotta love it.
cowboy
That looks
hat.
good. That
You
looks
think so?
good. I could see you wear that at Boots and Hearts or somewhere like that for sure.
Exactly. It's brand new. I got it. I had a milestone birthday last fall, and I
Nice.
went to this place called Herbert's Boots and Western Gear, and there's one up near Barrie actually, and I think you're
Yeah,
gonna head that way.
we're
So
playing. We're
yeah.
playing Barry.
Yeah, it's my brand new hat. Anyways, I
Looks good.
just wanted to share that with you. Sorry for doing that.
It's good.
Listen,
Suits you, man.
what's that?
It suits you. Looks good.
Thank you. I drove those folks nuts. Like I go to this shop and I think I pretty much they were happy when I left. 'Cause I
That's
tried
awesome.
every hat on possible.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
You
I'm
know,
kind of
like
that way too whenever I go. If I'm trying boots on, I try 40, 50 pairs of boots on. They're like, are you going to pick one? And
right.
then sometimes I walk out, I didn't like any of them.
See, I did that. I got my wife. We went there. She knew I wanted a new pair of boots and a new hat.
Yeah.
And I think we were there a couple of hours. I tried on, I think these people looked at me and said, he's never gonna buy boots, is he? But I finally had that moment, the light
Yeah.
shines down and you feel
Yeah.
comfortable and the boot makes the pop and like it just everything was right.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so
Right
I
on.
got that.
Good.
Anyways, I'm sure people don't want to hear about my boots and hats when you're on the show. I said you're from British Columbia, but inside that big beautiful province, Aaron, more specifically, you're from the Terrace, Kitimat area.
Yeah.
And I was just curious, what's life like for Aaron Pritchett growing up in Kitimat?
Well, Kitimat was really where I started my country roots, to be honest. Although I think that's where I learned my love for hockey most because I played hockey my entire life. As soon as we moved to Kitimat when I was a kid from the Vancouver area, I wanted to play hockey so bad, and that's where it all began for hockey. And then the thing that relates to me now as an artist and did as I was becoming a country artist and starting writing and doing all that, it was those country roots that I had up in the small town of Kitimat that you could get on your bike and just go ride and go do things freely. I'd go fishing by myself down the river, even though there was a lot of bears. You still got to go as a 10 or 11-year-old kid because you want to catch that fish. Uh, it was really really awesome for me to grow up there. To be honest with you, I moved away before I was a teenager, which was probably also a good thing. I could have probably gotten in a lot of trouble if I'd stayed there as a teenager.
Small towns, right? Small towns, country roots. That makes a lot of sense. Now,
Yeah.
I was trying to learn a little bit about Kitimat, and I understand that the meaning of it means people of the snow. Uh,
Yes. Yeah.
and I'm gonna say this wrong. I know I am. It's in the Simishin language of the Hills of First Nation. I hopefully got
Yeah.
that right. I'm
It's
not saying it
Simpson.
wrong.
Yeah,
There we go.
Simpson and
Simshin.
the Heisla.
Heisler. Thank you for
Yeah.
correcting me. And yeah, I appreciate that. Now, the whole notion of people of the snow, I
Yeah.
was like, is that because of the weather? Is it an event of some kind? And you alluded to hockey and things like that. But
Yeah.
do you have any background on any of that, or did you
Yeah.
connect with that?
Absolutely. Yeah. I have that knowledge firsthand because when we moved there in 1978, they had a massive snowfall that year. And what had happened 5 years prior to that was they had the most fallen snow in a 24-hour period, world record. It was over 13 feet over in 24 hours. So there's a lot of snow that falls in Kitimat and in that area because it's very damp, but it gets cold. So if it's -5, you're going to get some massive wet snowflakes that piles up the snow really fast. So, and it sticks around for a long, long time. So of course it's going to be, Kitimat is known as, you know, that's what the meaning of the Haisla word is, snow related for sure.
Yeah. I love that. I always like to get a little bit of background and roots for folks when they come on the show,
Yeah.
you know, because we connect and we are worldwide, but we get a lot of small towns and folks that like to hear that sort of thing. And it's Canadiana,
Sure.
right? So I
Exactly.
appreciate that. I appreciate it. Look, speaking of early days, is it true you were a DJ too at a country bar? Is that how you?
Yeah. So how everything originally started was I went to a karaoke with my mom and my sister. And my sister wanted to be she wanted to be a singer, and I didn't know I could sing. I just went. It was the first time I ever went. Karaoke was brand new in 1991, and I went. My mom convinced me to get up and sing a song, and I was like, I don't sing. I'm not a singer. So I got up and reluctantly sang a song, and probably the worst song you could ever pick for your first song ever in front of people. A song from Foreigner called "Waiting for a Girl Like You." So I was like, I've been waiting for a
Oh
girl.
gosh,
I got
wow.
up and sang it. Anyways, the guy that was running it was like, "You're a really good singer. I want you to work for me doing these karaoke shows." And sort of developed from there. But I got my chops by doing karaoke, and then I became a bit of a DJ in country bars. One in particular called Roosters in the Vancouver
Yeah.
area. And that's it, sort of blew everything up because not only was I a DJ, but I was playing with my band at that time. And I would DJ, and then I'd run up to the stage, play with the band for 45 minutes, run back to the DJ booth for half an hour, go back up on stage with the band. I did this 5 or 6 times in a night, and 6 nights a week I would do this. So I was kind of known as the singing DJ for a while. And then after a while, they finally got to know me as Aaron Pritchett, the singer, you know, not just some DJ. But I'll tell you, DJing was so much fun. And I'm glad I got to do that kind of thing because it helped add to my entertainment skills that I have now.
Yeah, it's funny. We have something in common because I was a DJ in college. I was a DJ,
Oh,
and
nice.
I was actually last month on the last month's show. I had Neil Osborne from 5440 on, and we were talking, and I was
So
telling
great.
him a story about I was a DJ, and I was in a cage. I was in a steel cage
Yeah.
because things would get rowdy, right? And but the difference between you and I is you're actually a good singer, and I just like this kind of work on the microphone, Aaron.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Right. That's
anyways, that's
awesome.
probably where the similarity ends, man. So you do the band, you do the DJ, and somewhere in there you have an aha moment and you go, I'm gonna do this. Like, this is me. I'm gonna do country music.
Yeah. Well, I was a country fan since the late '80s, and never really listened much until I heard Randy Travis in about 1987. I was like, who is this guy? He's pretty cool. And then it just changed my thought process on country, and I really started listening to nothing but country. And then again, I didn't know I could sing, and eventually I got into singing. And I sort of had to choose a genre. And I grew up in Kitimat with places there with music like the '80s rock of Loverboy and
Right.
Foreigner and so much of that great rock. But I didn't really relate to it as an artist, as a person. And with country, they told such deep stories that it was
Yeah.
like, this is easy. I love these stories. I grew up in a small town. I get what they're saying in these stories, and it was very relatable. And then the country thing just took off. And one thing in particular actually solidified my country future was, again, my mom. She entered me into a talent search at a country bar for a country competition, and I didn't even know it. She said, "Well, I paid the $20, so you've got to go in it." I went, "Okay, I will." I'd never sang with a band before in my life, and then that changed the whole trajectory of my career as it's known now. So yeah.
Well, thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom, for
Thanks, Mom.
getting this, getting you out there and doing that, because now we've got you and we've got great music from you.
Thanks.
Look, the first album you ever released, I think was called Young in Love. And it was a self-release, and I think it had 5 songs on it. You also had
Yeah.
a title of the album. And what intrigues me by this is, as I watch your music journey, Aaron, doing a self-release when you did it, how is that different than what you have available to you now, and how you're doing releases now? How have things changed for you?
Oh, I think it's changed dramatically because of the fact that you have a bit of money behind you now, going into a studio, a lot of marketing and promotional money, things like that. I mean, back then I just was like, I got a grant from Factor for $6,000, and I get to go into the studio, record some songs in 1996, and worked with a pretty well-known producer back then named Tony Redner, who's an awesome guy. And we put together a bunch of songs that I thought were kind of fun to do. And who knew where it was going to go and how was I going to promote it? I don't know. I'm just going to give it to the radio station. They're going to play it, right? And that's not really how it happened. So I'm in with knowledge and with a few extra bucks that you got for spending for releasing music, because it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, it all developed from there. But I'm so glad that I got to do that first Young in Love album. And there's so many great things about that record. Even though I look back on it now, it's like, well, I could either play it or I could use it as a drink coaster. It'd probably just, you know, get just as much of an effect from it. So, but I'm glad I did it.
You know, it's funny. I talk to a lot of artists and we talk about some of their original music and they always reflect on some of the early stuff and they go, yeah, I kind of put it over there, you know, and
Yeah.
it's there and I like to look at it, but it's kind of over there and I've grown and I'm different. But I always think to myself, it's your roots, like it's where you started
Yeah.
and you couldn't do it today. I don't think you could do it today, what you're doing if you didn't do that.
Right.
And but so then I'm wondering, you know, the whole notion, the title, Young in Love. And I was like, was that about, are you loving country music? You're just really young in love, like you're a young guy, young in love, or, you know, was there a
Well,
little bit of both or?
I co-wrote that song with a guy named Rick Tippy, who was he was a current artist at the time, Canadian artist,
Yeah.
and Rick was really good songwriter too. So he he and I sat down for my second songwriting session ever with anybody else co-writing, and I said, I've kind of got this title, and I want to work with it. What do you think? And we started writing it, and within 2 hours, we had this song called "Young in Love." And it's basically about, you know, I was pretty young at the time. I had I had two kids at that time, so I knew all about what it was like being in love and being, you know, wanting the white picket fence and, you know, that sort of stuff. And it was very relatable for me. And again, it goes back to the country music stories and being able to tell a story and actually believing what you're singing, especially after you've written it and believing what you're writing too. So, I mean, it was it's your typical country song telling you a story about young love.
That you know what, and I think that's what we love about it, right? Like that's what we love of making that connection. We see ourselves going through some of those experiences, and when you're singing those songs
Yeah,
and singing those words, and those are the connections that we make.
that's
Um,
right.
I mentioned only some of your accolades and awards in the intro, and as I'm asking you about, you know, how his music changed for you, the recording process, all those things, release process, um, does what those does what those awards mean to you change as you go through the different stages of your career as well?
Yeah, I think there was a time period where, you know, I've been nominated for Juno's, never won one.
Yeah.
I've been I've been nominated for multiple CCMA awards and
Yeah.
only won a few, which is great.
Yeah.
I think there was a time where I was like, yeah, well, you know, I think I've earned these, but now I look at it and go, well, I'm glad that I got to do that. And it's sad that more artists don't get to go through that because there's a lot of really great music out there. And
Yeah.
it's almost like, well, I don't like the competition side of it anymore. And especially being a hockey player and a team player, you should be there for everybody, as far as I'm concerned, and help lift all of us up to be more successful, as opposed to receiving an award or, you know, winning a championship of some kind
Yeah.
in that way. Um, that being said, you know, it is nice to win these awards and be recognized for something that you really worked hard at. And, you know, I'm 53 now, so for me, coming out with music and hoping that it gets radio airplay, and if it does, that's a real sense of accomplishment. And but I also look at the other artists in Canada and go, I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud that you're making Canada so proud,
Yeah.
having your music out there and for so many people to hear, and that the talent is so great. So I'm really super supportive at the same time. So winning an award is important to a degree. Being nominated for an award is important as well, but you can't forget everybody else that's there, you know, making this industry happen.
You know, I'm glad you said that, Aaron, about just being supportive of other folks in the industry because there is a lot of competition, and I think that, you
Yeah,
know, as different artists come through, they can develop differently too if they see that, right? And I know even myself, I got the radio station, and folks are always asking me questions. How do you do this? And how do you? And people say, why do you tell people that? And I say, well, why not? if somebody else goes out and does something great, our industry gets that much better.
Exactly.
You know, and you see somebody else grow. And you know, I think one of the greatest things sometimes is if you help somebody and they're growing beside you, or even they grow even more than you. You know, it's kind of like, hey, I had a
Yeah.
hand in this sort of thing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I,
Absolutely.
I I wanted to ask you a question. I don't know if I should bring this up, but I'm going to anyways, and just bear with
Okay.
me. Is uh is Gertie still around?
Gertie is not around for
Oh,
me. She's still around for my ex. Yeah,
oh no.
the VW bus that I had, the orange one.
Yeah,
Yeah, my in the split in 2018 between myself and my
yeah.
ex-girlfriend, she ended up keeping Gertie and still uses Gertie, which is good. So it's nice to know she's still being used, but not by me.
Sorry, man. I was like, oh, the
It's okay.
Volkswagen
Hey,
Gertie.
I'm an open book, Guido. Anything you want to know, I'll tell you.
So, look, you recently open book. You recently released a new song, and we're gonna hear it later in the
Yeah,
show. It's
right on.
called "Just Wanna Feel It." And look,
Yeah,
I listened to the song, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, Aaron, but when I listen to it, I'm like, yeah, like I want to feel it too.
the lights went
Uh,
out.
oh, the lights
Hang
went
on.
out in Georgia.
Hang on, the lights went out. I can't see anything. Hang on, bear with me.
Yeah, no
Uh,
problem, no problem. Motion censored.
yeah, it should be a motion censored thing, but I can't see shit right now. This is good promo for the show.
It is actually. This is
I
awesome.
literally can't see anything while I walk. There we go. I'm back. Can you see me?
No, not yet. There we
Okay,
go.
there we go.
There we go.
Yeah,
You know what?
I guess it took a while.
It's not the first time the lights have gone out on the monthly social. Okay, it's
Oh
not the
yeah.
first time.
Okay. That's great.
I recorded once. We had a massive storm, but
Yeah.
here in my studio, I've got everything on battery backup. So
Oh yeah.
everything went down. Everything else in the area was all out. I was able to keep going for 25 minutes, and then they restored the power when we
Oh,
were
that's
good.
good.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So back to
So
your
yeah,
question.
man. So look at you recently released a new song, and we're gonna hear it
Yeah.
later. And I was saying it's called "Just Want to Feel It," and I was like, hey man, I don't really know what it is, but when I listen to the song, I'm like, I'm into it. I'm into it, and I'm like, what is it? What am I feeling? What's the root of this song? Why am I loving it?
Well, there's a few things. First of all, I changed producers this album. So this new album was produced by my son Jordan Pritchett. He's 33 years old. He's got so much musical experience behind him. He played with a band called Faber Drive for a long time as lead guitar player and vocalist, background vocalist. And he and his fiance have a duo called Cross Parallel, which is phenomenal. You can find it on Spotify and Apple Music. Uh, but I took a chance and went, I want my son to produce this, not because he's my son and I'm proud of him, but I am that for sure. Not just because of that, but because I think he can do it. And he produced all of the new record. And when it came time to record a song like Just Want to Feel It, he's the one who convinced me, because I had that song on hold basically for 8 years. And I loved the tune, but I didn't know if it was for me or not. And Jordan and his fiance Danielle said, yes, we definitely need you to record this song because there's something special about it. And I realized later too, because I was doing that same thing you're
Yeah.
doing right now. It's like, what is it about this song? Sure, the groove's great. The lyrics are really cool. They've got some great moments in it. But what is it about the essence of the song that really hits me? And I think it's because I said it last night at the show. I was like, this is it's a story about reinventing yourself as a human and reconnecting to the inside world as opposed to the outside world. I just want to feel it. I want to get back to those those simpler things, like listening to an album, like just going for a drive, spending time with my girl and not focusing on anything else.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what it's about. That is the true meaning of this song. But it's got a cool, fun groove to it too. So you're just kind of like, I love this, but it's hitting kind of deep at the same time.
You know what it was, and it like people know who listen to the show. I'm born and raised Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. You know, up in the north,
The Sioux.
small the Sioux, right? Yeah, the Sioux, small town, and there was just something about getting in the car, right? Like you could go across town in 15 minutes, and then you could kind of hit stretches of highway, and you're kind of alone. And when you're younger, you look and you got the trees and you got the scenic stuff, and you don't really see it too much, right?
Yeah.
But listening to this song, and you kind of put me in a different place, and I was in that car and I was going, and I'm like, I'm loving this and I want to go, but right now it's, February, so I can't,
Maybe
there's
wait
no
till
rolling the
June.
windows down, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, right. And then I started listening more to the lyrics of the song too, right? And I know what you're doing. You got the tour coming up, and there's a couple of lines in there. Sun on the windshield, slow turning chrome wheels, and you got me into that groove. And then I was like, oh, I wonder if he's talking about the tour, man. You got a busy schedule coming up.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're on show 13 tonight of 32 shows. Yeah, 32. And we feel like we've been on the road for a month and a half already, but in a good way. Like it's going by so slow, which is nice. Because typically when you do these shows, we do these tours, and the last time I did was 2019, so almost 5 years ago. When you do these tours, it's like everything just goes by so fast, and then you're done. And it's like, okay. But this one seems to be going by extremely slowly, which I absolutely love. Show 13 feels like it's show 40, and we still have 20 show, no, 19 more shows after tonight to go. So I'm super excited just to be back out, but really taking those moments, like the song says, just want to feel it.
Yeah.
I'm really gathering these moments into my memory. And what I've done so far is every show that we played, I remember the last show that we did. And then I remember the last few shows that we did. Now we're on 13. I'm going over all the 12 stops that we went through in my head and going, oh yeah, I remember that. And this happened and that happened. I can't forget that, because I want to write a book eventually. And in the book, I want to be able to tell these stories that I had forgotten years ago when I'd been on tour.
Yeah.
I forget a lot of the stories and a lot of the places we played. But now with this one, and especially in 2019 as well, I remember all those moments from it, because you have to, because those are your moments to reflect on and also tell stories about.
I'd love to read an Aaron Pritchett book, so I'm looking forward to that, and I love those stories. Even as a fan, like I come to your concert, and I make that conscious effort sometimes. Like I
Yeah.
go there and I enjoy the music and we have a good time, but there are always moments that you have in those songs. You as an artist are going to say something, you're going to play a particular song, there's a verse, a
Yeah.
chorus. I take stock of that, because you go to so many shows, but I want to remember something, the special thing that happened, or the special
Yeah.
moment for me or whoever I'm with. So I love that you're doing that, and I'm excited for the book. Whenever that happens, maybe we get you
Yeah.
back on so you could talk about that. Look,
I would love to.
your tour, Aaron, you called it the Liquored Up Tour, and I
Yeah.
was like, man, is that you? Is that me? Is that both of us? Why did you go with the single name as the tour name?
Well, originally we were going to call it the "It Ain't Getting Old" tour, because one of the songs on the album is called "It Ain't Getting Old." The album's called Demolition too. It's a completely different name. There's a song on the album called Demolition, but there's also a tune that myself and Jordan, my son, and his fiancee Danielle, and a friend of ours, Ryan McMahon, wrote, called "It Ain't Getting Old," and it's basically it's basically a story about us being artists and doing what we do. And I'm getting older. That's the line. I'm getting older, but it ain't getting old. What we're doing on stage, what we do off stage, it's not getting old. And I think that's kind of the reason why I still keep just moving on with what I do, because it doesn't slow down. And the reason why the Liquored Up tour was called that was because I'm touring with Cory Marks and Matt Lang. I recorded two versions on the album, on the new album that's going to be coming out in the middle of the year sometime. One version is just myself, and then the other one is with Cory and Matt. And when I approached them about being on doing a vocal on the album, they were totally into it. And then I'm like, "Whoa, you guys want to go tour it?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's go." So it was the most logical thing to do, is called the Liquored Up Tour, and we're having an absolute blast with it. It's just beyond the most fun tour we've ever done. For sure.
I was gonna ask, you know what? So you brought up a couple of things, man. You brought up so much. So yeah, and I wanted to say it earlier. The fact that your son is the producer, I love family stories like that too, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I know you said, hey man, it's not just because he's my son, but I love it. Like you look over and there's your kid, and
Yeah.
he's become part of something that you started, so long ago, like in not so long, but so long ago, before he was young, or he wasn't around, and you fell in love with something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's there, and you share that experience. And I don't know. To me, there's just something about that that's even higher than the music itself, you know? Like,
It is. It's so crazy to think that my son produced my record. I was actually at his house one day and I went to one of the bedrooms real quick and I came back out and I said to him, "You just produced all my new music. You produced songs that are hopefully going to be on the radio. Like if we
yeah,
get a top 10 hit out of this, you did that." And he's like, "I never really thought of it that way."
yeah,
But
Dad.
yeah, it's phenomenal. And you know, the thing is too is that he's been in music for 20 years,
Yeah,
you know, almost 15 years, and he's earned that. But now his fiance Danielle, she's a musician as well. She's been singing since she was a little girl and writing amazing
beautiful,
songs.
beautiful.
But I also have my two younger sons, Braden and Mason, who have a duo, a musical duo of their own called Atlantis One. It's all one word, Atlantis One, and they were a part of the studio stuff, the production of it as well. They were helping out a little bit when we were at the Warehouse Studio in Vancouver. And then the other cool thing, the coolest thing of all, is that there's a song on the album that I wrote for Jordan's grad in 2008. The morning of his grad, I had to write a song. So
Wow.
I wrote a song for his grad that he and I performed that day. And I forgot about it. And then in the studio last year, he said, "Why don't we record that grad song?" I was like, "What grad song?" He said, "The grad song that you wrote for my grad that we did." I was like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot about that." But the best part of all is that Jordan and I did vocals on it. Danielle does some BG vocals on it, but I also have lead vocal by my son Braden and my son Mason. So all of us are on this record, on this song called Where We Go From Here.
Aaron, Van Halen's got nothing on you. This is a family
That's right.
affair. I'm loving it. I'm loving the family connection here. This is great. Look, I wanted to ask you too. So you brought up Cory Marks, Matt Lang.
Yeah.
You got together with these guys and they're on your tour. What actually brings you guys together? Like, how does that happen?
Well, Cory and I have known each other for 10 years or more.
Okay.
We toured in 2015 and 2016 together. And he's a real rocker, and I just love his performance
Yeah.
on stage, and his offstage hang is awesome. Matt Lang, I was a fan of Matt's music already, from Get Ya to In a Bar, and just he's got this great list of songs. And I was already a fan, but I got to meet him last summer in BC, and we were doing a show together. And I saw his performance, and I was like, "This guy knows how to kick ass on stage. Like, I want to tour with this guy for sure." So he did the vocal on the song, and then also after that, we're like, "Let's go tour." And of course, it's just a perfect match. We're like brothers.
That's
We're
awesome.
like best friends on and
I'm
off
getting,
stage. It's great.
I'm getting pumped. I'm getting pumped for a show now.
Yeah.
I gotta come to a show. So, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna ask, Liquored Up.
Yeah.
I actually watched the video for it too, which I
Yeah.
love. The video is awesome. You guys look like you're having fun.
We had
I
fun.
was like, man, are they actually drinking in this video? Are they actually having a few?
Yeah, we were.
They were. And so are all the people in there? Like, are those all folks you know, or were there some
Yeah.
Yeah, eh? Aaron?
All the other people were either friends or family of. Yeah, or it was just people that we knew. All of our friends from the Nanaimo area, they all came out and sat. Didn't do a lot of sitting. We filmed constantly for about 6 hours, and it worked out perfect. Love the video. It's my favorite
Yeah.
video.
It's a fun video. I gotta get the link for folks to check that out. The other observation I had is you have a yellow Tonka dump truck. And
Yeah.
and I have one. Like, I grew up with a yellow dump
What?
truck like that, man. So I'm like, they have my truck, right? Are you bringing that? Is that on tour with you? Is the truck with you?
No, we didn't. Unless Sarah brings it to the next show, because she's driving out to the next show
Yeah.
that we have tomorrow night. If she brings it with her, that's great. But I said, if you could, that'd be awesome. It's a matter of getting it back home, because we got a lot of stuff to get back home after the tour ends in Moncton.
Do you find you collect a lot of stuff as you go, or yeah?
Yeah, I'm not much of a hoarder, that's for sure, but I do like to collect little things here and there as we go. And you notice that, radio stations will give you some free things here and there, and you get, toques and all kinds of little
Swag.
radio things that they have, some swag that they get.
Yeah.
We have a lot of booze, I can tell you that, because that's been piling up over the last bunch of shows. So
Well, it is the Liquored Up tour, man. So of course, right? Look,
So,
I was gonna say to you, what keeps the country music flame alive in you, and how do you keep writing and keep touring? But I don't know. I don't know if I really need to answer that. Like, I don't even need to know if I have to ask that or if you should answer it, because I
uh,
think just listening to you.
yeah, I just have lots of energy, but I think the sole reason why I do what I do, and I've always done this, is not for the fame and fortune or anything like that. It's for the fans, because I'm a
Yeah.
fan. I'm a huge music fan, real big country fan. I know what I would want if somebody's on stage and I'm watching them, and I want to feel that way, and I try and make. And so does Matt and Corey. We try and make the fans feel like they're on stage with us and that we're in the crowd with them. And if you can do that in a show, you're doing all right. And I think that's the main thing. That's the thing that drives me, is just I'm a huge fan. I want to give the fan the best experience they possibly can.
When you see an artist loving what they do, it just changes the whole thing. It just really
Yeah,
does. It really
it
does,
does.
Aaron. And I see it in you. I see it in your performances, and God, I love it. I love it so much. I don't ever want you to stop. What's after the tour, man? What's after the tour?
Well, Sarah and I might be taking a trip over to England. I've never been, but
Nice.
only because she recently lost a family member who was elderly, but it was one of her last remaining family members. So we're probably going to take a trip over there and go see Big Ben and
Nice.
yeah, do maybe take a week or so, and that's about it. And then come back, and then there's so much going on. The music is still rolling along. We do have vinyl records that we're selling on tour only. There's 300 of them. And within the vinyl records, we have a gold album. So I don't know where it is in the 300, but there's one gold album. And whoever picks the gold album gets a free house concert. So I'm going to come out to wherever you live and do a house concert for you. And so that's one thing that's going to be happening after the tour is over as well. We're going to figure that out and do a house concert. Plus, the summer's looking like it's going to be pretty busy, so I'm pretty excited to get out on the road again after this tour is done. Go do a bunch of shows.
I'm hoping that gold record's still around if I can make it up to see you in Barrie. So
Yeah, man.
yeah.
Well, let me know. I'll put you on the guest list.
I gotta pull the gold record. Get you
Yeah.
have a block party. We'll have a block party. I'll get a permit here.
Well,
We'll close down my street. Uh,
yeah. Do it. It hasn't been pulled yet. There's 12 shows in,
Woo!
so not
Wow,
yet. I
wow.
don't know where it is in the mix either.
That
So
sounds pretty cool. I love it. Look, I know you've also got a beautiful looking website, aaronpritchett.com.
yeah,
And I was curious, is that the best place for fans to go? And I know some artists like, Instagram, and I know you got stuff there,
sure.
Facebook. Where do you want folks to go? Like, what's the best place?
Well, if you're looking for general information and where we're playing next or anything like that, I think the quickest route to go is to go to aaronpritchett.com, but also go to my Instagram as well. Instagram, Facebook. I'm usually pretty interactive with people on there too. I don't get
Right
too
on.
personal, but I definitely like to interact with artists or with the fans out there. So either Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok.
Right on. Well, we'll make sure we get those links out there for folks, and they can look you up and find out about the tours and things like that. I know you have a busy schedule with the tour coming up. You're playing tonight.
Yeah,
I really appreciate the time you made to come on the show. I know we kind of threw this together pretty fast.
I
Uh,
appreciate it.
is there anything else that you'd like to leave us with before you go and rock out there?
I don't think we covered pretty much everything that I can think of. So I appreciate that.
Right on. That is
Awesome.
Aaron Pritchett. And I know you just want to feel it too after catching up with him here on the Monthly Social. He is a decorated Canadian country music star who's coming through your town. So whether you're getting liggered up or looking for a warm, safe place, if you're asking, how do I get there? Well, it's not hard to miss. If you head on over to aaronpritchett.com, you'll be booking your tickets and saying, let's get ready. So stay tuned here for some more Aaron Pritchett music later on in the show. Aaron, good luck with the tour. Hope to see you up in Barrie, and hope you do come back and take care.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Guido. Appreciate it. You too.